Today, we're diving into a really powerful idea. The idea that our inner world, our thoughts and feelings, doesn't just react to life, but that it actually creates it. This is the heart of the law of attraction, and we're going to look at how its biggest teachers connect it directly to our own healing and well-being. I mean, let's be honest. It's a feeling we've all had, right? That sense that you're just a passenger in your own life, kind of bouncing from one thing to the next. Well, that feeling, that's our starting point for everything we're about to unpack. This one idea from the incredible Louise Hay is the foundation for everything. She's basically saying we're not just spectators here, we are the architects of our own reality. So if that's true, then we need to understand the blueprint. How does this whole thing actually work? To figure out how to build the life we really want, it actually helps to first see how we get stuck in one we don't want. And we're going to start with two really powerful real-life stories. So let's take author Gay Hendricks. Back in his 20s, he felt completely and utterly trapped. He was overweight, smoking all the time, just deeply unhappy. And he had this nagging feeling that the life he was living wasn't even his. Then one day, a literal, physical fall on the ice sparked this massive mental breakthrough. And in that moment of clarity, he had this incredible realization. He saw that his body, the tension, the unhappiness, none of it was truly his. He realized he was living out this unconscious inheritance, a story passed down to him that he never once thought he could change. He didn't know he had the power to write a brand new chapter.
And you see the same idea of our biography becoming our biology in the story of Dr. Christy Northrup. Now, she's a medical doctor, but even she was just flattened by these awful migraines for years. And she eventually found out the cause wasn't just physical. It was rooted in a belief system she didn't even know she had.
And there it is. The belief system driving her physical pain was this constant, nagging internal pressure to be perfect, to get straight A's. So for her, a real physical condition was the direct result of a mental pattern. And the amazing part, once she finally dealt with that internal pressure, her physical health totally transformed.
Okay, so if our inner world can build these traps, it must also hold the key to setting us free. And this brings us to the big aha moment. The central idea that all these teachers share: our thoughts don't just reflect our reality, they literally create it.
Now, this isn't about just, making a wish and hoping for the best. It's about a deep, sustained focus. The late, great Dr. Wayne Dyer called it the power of contemplation, the practice of consistently holding the reality you want in your mind, as if it's already here. Just think about that quote for a minute. It's so good. You don't figure out how to float by studying why things sink. The Wright brothers didn't invent the airplane by obsessing over why things fall down. Creation demands that you put your energy and your focus on the solution, on the thing you desire, not on the problem you're trying to get away from.
And get this, Dyer lived this himself. When he was just a kid, he would vividly imagine being a guest on The Tonight Show. Fast forward 30 years, and he'd been on that show 37 times. And in a wild twist of fate, his very first appearance was guest hosted by the exact man he used to imagine talking to, Steve Allen. It's incredible.
Okay, so focusing on what you want is key. I get it, but how? How does a thought or a contemplation actually turn into a real physical thing? What's the mechanism behind what feels like magic? Well, the teachings of Abraham Hicks break it down into 3 simple steps. First, you ask. Life makes you want things. Second, the answer is given, instantly. But it's that third step, allowing, that's the real kicker. That's where most of us get stuck. It means you have to become a vibrational match, which is just a way of saying your feelings have to line up with the feeling of already having what you asked for. So, how do you do that? Scientist Greg Braden has this amazing way of explaining it. He says to think of it like this. Your thought is the blueprint. It's the clear, detailed architectural plan for what you want. But your emotion, that's the energy. That's the construction crew, the power source that actually breathes life into that blueprint and builds the house. In fact, Braden's research points to the human heart as the generator of the body's most powerful energetic field. He suggests that this field, which is generated by our feelings, is the actual language that speaks to the world around us. And this is the key takeaway. So simple but so profound. The feeling is the prayer.
Now, I know some of this might be sounding a little like science fiction, but the teachers we're talking about offer some really compelling, tangible evidence. Let's look at some of it.
Wayne Dyer used to do this thing live on stage with muscle testing. He'd have someone hold out their arm, and he'd ask them to think about something shameful or vengeful, and just like that, their arm would go weak, easy to push down. Then, he'd have them switch their thought to love or forgiveness, and instantly, their physical strength came roaring back. The point was to show, right there in real time, that every thought has an immediate, physical effect on the body. But here's an even more dramatic example. It comes from a so-called medicineless hospital in Beijing. Practitioners gathered around a woman who had a large, inoperable cancerous tumor. And here's the crucial part. They didn't focus on fighting the cancer. They didn't focus on the problem. Instead, they focused all of their energy on creating and feeling the reality of her being already healed, already whole. And the result, which was all captured on an ultrasound video, is just staggering. The tumor completely disappeared. And the time it took? Less than 3 minutes. I mean, think about that. A powerful, real-time demonstration of a collective feeling creating a rapid physical change. And it's not just about health. Author Cheryl Richardson used these same principles in her love life. She got super specific, writing out a really detailed list of everything she wanted in a partner. She got into the feeling of what it would be like to be with him, and just 2 weeks later, she met the man who is now her husband. So, we've seen the problem, we've talked about the principle behind it, the mechanism, and even the proof. The final question is the most important one. How can you actually apply this? What's the practical toolkit for making it happen?
All right, so what's in the toolkit? Well, first, you gotta get specific. Write it down, just like Cheryl Richardson did. Then you start using affirmations and practicing gratitude to rewire your inner world. But this isn't passive wishing. You have to take inspired action when your gut tells you to move. And maybe the most important tool of all, the real foundation for everything, is self-love. You have to genuinely believe you're worthy of getting all the good stuff you're asking for.
And that brings us to maybe the simplest, but most powerful tool we have, and it comes straight from Louise Hay. It's a daily practice. Just look yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. I really, really love you, and mean it. Her whole belief was that when you finally truly love yourself, the universe has no choice but to reflect that love right back at you. So we'll leave you with this final thought. If your thinking creates the blueprint, but it's your feeling that is the prayer that actually builds your life, then it all comes down to one simple question. Just take a second. Check in with yourself. What are your feelings praying for today?